Hipolito, Acosta, immigration law expert and former Border Patrol agent, also joins us. Hipolito, are you with us? Yes, I am. Maybe he's not. I don't know. Oh, yes, there you are. Hi there. What are we missing on this debate? In other words, illegal immigrants come to this country and they find work, and they sometimes find good work, sometimes they find lousy work. We have this war on drugs laid on top of it. We have all these issues. At the end of the day, what are we missing when it comes to our relationship with immigrants, period, in this country, and illegal immigrants specifically?
Well, let me just start out by saying that one of the things that we're missing here is that the reason people keep coming into our country and have for many years has been because of the lack of interior enforcement. We've increased the border resources to make it harder, certainly, to protect our country, and that's been the correct thing to do. But over the years, we have neglected to have any type of interior enforcement, and that magnet has continued to draw immigrants, illegal immigrants, into the country. We have millions that have come across the southern border, but we also have several million that actually have come into the United States with visas issued at U.S. consular posts abroad that have overstayed, and there hasn't been any type of enforcement action to make sure that people comply with their entry requirements. So what we have, as long as that magnet is here, I think that's more of an issue that continues to draw the people into the country in an illegal status. And of course, the border states like Arizona have, the frustrations are obvious by SB 1070 being passed by the legislation in Arizona. I have to agree that I think that the court's going to go with upholding that particular provision of peace officers being allowed to question the alienage of individuals in Arizona. The thing that concerns me, of course, is the fact that are we ready for different type of legislation in each state enforcing immigration law? And I think that's one of the big concerns that I have. Is Arizona prepared to do training, detention, and removal of people that they encounter? Or are they going to expect the federal government to respond when they have individuals in their custody? I think we've already seen that we've neglected the immigration issue. We've neglected immigration enforcement over the years. And I don't see the government increasing resources in Arizona to respond every time they get called up by Arizona police officers.
I'll send this to both of you. I'll start with you, Mike. What perplexes me about the immigration debate, because I disagree a little bit with Hipolito's analysis of the border control. I believe that the issue is that as long as all of our small businesses and individuals are willing to employ illegals, in fact, have an incentive to do so because you have less labor responsibility to them, you can abuse them, you don't have to provide health for them, you can pay them less money, that restaurants, landscaping, agriculture, domestic service, that as long as those jobs exist and as long as the government, instead of going to the immigrants and saying, where are you from, where are your papers, I've never understood if the government is really so terribly concerned about all these illegals that are infesting our country. It's horrible, it's horrible. Well, hang on a second. Well, why don't you just start enforcing small businesses and penalizing them or individuals when they hire illegal immigrants? Because I can't imagine anybody's going to come to America if they can't find a job.
And the federal policy, by and large, has been to go after the employers, not the employees. Last term, the court heard a case that was based on another Arizona law that went after employers perhaps more intensely than federal law was already doing. And the court said that that is a supplement of federal law and it is not preempted by federal law. And one of the reasons that the court may end up keeping blocked the provision that goes after, that criminalizes undocumented immigrants trying to find work in Arizona is because they might find that Congress considered doing that, considered criminalizing employees seeking work, but instead went after employers. And because they're going after employers alone, that could have occupied the field. Congress contemplated criminalizing employees, didn't do so, so Arizona should not be allowed to do so either. That's going to be the reasoning that the court will take up should they end up keeping the employee sanctions blocked in Arizona.
And Hipolito, beyond the border porousness, your thoughts on the employment market and the incentive to keep an illegal, as your book says, the shadow catcher, a U.S. agent infiltrates Mexico's deadly crime cartels. The point of a shadow labor market is it's cheap, I can abuse it, and no one can hold me to account for it. And quite honestly, it makes my profit margins wider when I have the ability to hire people that I can treat that way.
Well, you know, the thing that we've also had a need over the years where we didn't have any type of outlet where people could come into the country and work for temporary periods of time. I feel certain that many of those illegal immigrants that came to the country and had no choice but to stay here because they were able to obtain employment, continued bringing family members into the United States rather than returning and not being able to re-enter the country. But let me also point out that it's not just small businesses that have benefited. You know, we've had large corporations, in some cases with thousands of employees that have used identities that did not belong to them. During the previous administration and even during this administration, one of the strategies that are being employed right now is to audit companies, and when the audit results are given to the companies, they are instructed to fire the individuals that are found to be using fraudulent identities, but no enforcement action is taken. So
why is
again,
that?
we
Stop, but that's I'm sorry to interrupt you, but why is no enforcement action taken?
Well, you know, one of the things, as I mentioned in my book, that over the years we've gone from early 2001 with 2 to 3 million undocumented Mexicans in the United States to the present numbers that are estimated now to be 12 to 15 million people. So again, the problem has gotten so wide that there's the resources that need to be dedicated for this particular purpose are not being done, and I just don't see it being done in the near future. Right. The reality is that our leaders have known over the years of this situation, and leaders from both parties have just neglected to address the issue the way it should be addressed.
You believe, I gotta wrap this up, but you believe it's addressable, that there are ways to do this?
Well, it was addressable before. Now we have no choice but to address it. We have to take some type of action. The reason we're here right now is we have basically unofficial amnesty by not taking any action, and that's been what has happened over the years. Right.
So you have unofficial, unregulated amnesty, which is sort of like we have secret, unregulated money in our politics. We've got some weird policy-making culture right now, Hipolito, in this country. I don't know what to tell you. Mike Sachs, Huffington Post Supreme Court reporter. Hipolito Acosta, the book, The Shadow Catcher, a U.S. agent infiltrates Mexico's deadly crime cartels. There's the cover. Coming up.